The job offer came at exactly 11:59 p.m. Daniel had been half asleep when his phone buzzed. No caller ID. A flat, emotionless voice made the offer. Double pay for minimal work. Night shift, immediate start. No interview, no paperwork. Do you accept? And now he stood in front of the museum of forgotten things. It wasn't on any map, no website, no records. It simply was. A monolith of black stone and glass, its windows reflecting nothing. The city roared behind him, cars, neon signs, distant laughter, but as soon as he stepped through the doors, silence swallowed the world whole. Inside, the air was thick with dust, tinged with the scent of old wood and something else, something faintly metallic. The exhibit stretched in all directions, glass cases filled with things that shouldn't exist, fossils unlike any known species, carved idols with too many eyes, paintings of landscapes that felt wrong, as if they depicted a world not meant for human eyes. No reception desk, no coworkers, just endless, silent halls. Daniel's footsteps echoed as he followed the only hallway that seemed to have a purpose. At the end, a break room. A flickering fluorescent light buzzed overhead. A battered vending machine stood in the corner, next to a metal locker covered in rusted fingerprints. The only furniture was a single table with a clipboard resting atop it. His first instructions. Daniel picked it up. The paper was yellowed, the ink smudged. Rules for the night shift. Do not look at the statue in Exhibit 12. It moves when you aren't watching. If you hear glass shatter, do not check which case is broken. That means it has escaped. A woman in a black dress will appear at midnight. Cover your ears. Do not hear her speak. If a visitor asks you for directions, do not speak. There are no visitors at night. At exactly 3:33 a.m., every exhibit will whisper your name. Pretend you don't hear it. If you hear a child giggling near the antique dolls, leave that section immediately. If the janitor is mopping the floor, walk the other way. He wasn't hired by the museum. You must clock out before sunrise. If you don't, you'll become an exhibit. Daniel set the clipboard down, a cold weight settling in his stomach. A joke. It had to be. Some kind of weird onboarding ritual. But as he turned toward the hallway, he felt it. Something watching and waiting. Daniel's first task was simple. Patrol the exhibits. The museum stretched farther than it should. Every hallway seemed to lead into another, the displays vanishing into shadow no matter how bright his flashlight was. The silence wasn't normal either. It was absolute. No hum of ventilation, no distant traffic, no sound except his own footsteps. Until he reached Exhibit 12. His skin prickled before he even looked inside. A sensation like static electricity, raising the hairs on his arms. He hesitated, gripping his flashlight tighter, then turned toward the glass case. Inside stood a statue. It was human-shaped, but only barely. Its arms were too long, the elbows jointed in a way that suggested they could bend both ways. The hands were stretched out, not in menace, but in something eerily close to pleading. The fingers curled as if reaching for someone just out of view. Its face was featureless except for two deep, hollow eye sockets, empty but not empty, waiting. Daniel felt his breath tighten in his chest. Then his radio crackled. A voice, not his supervisor's, whispered, "You're looking, aren't you?" Daniel's body locked in place. His pulse thundered in his ears. The flashlight trembled in his grip. He blinked. The statue had moved, not by much, just an inch closer to the glass. His stomach twisted. The break room rules echoed in his mind. Do not look at the statue in Exhibit 12. It moves when you aren't watching. Daniel forced himself to take a slow step back. The glass was thick. It couldn't get out, could it? His radio hissed again. The same voice, softer this time. Still looking? Daniel blinked again, and the statue was even closer. Its outstretched hands now pressed against the glass. The hollow sockets stared through him. A hairline crack ran across the glass, as if the pressure of its fingers was growing. His body screamed at him to run, but his training kicked in. No sudden movements. He forced himself to step backward, never looking away. Another step, another. He reached the edge of the exhibit, the corridor yawning behind him. He turned the corner. In the next reflective case, he caught a glimpse of Exhibit 12's glass. The case was empty. And then, behind him, A shadow moved. Daniel didn't run, not yet. Every part of him wanted to bolt down the corridor, but he remembered the rules. No sudden movements. If Exhibit 12 could move when unseen, then turning his back might be the worst possible thing he could do. He forced himself forward step by agonizing step, not daring to check the reflection again. The museum felt bigger now. The shadows stretched wider, the exhibits standing taller. The air was thick, pressing against his lungs like a damp cloth. Then, at 1:12 a.m., the silence shattered, glass breaking, loud, sharp, nearby. Daniel's instincts screamed at him to turn, to find the source. But the rules, rule number 2, flashed in his mind like a warning flare. If you hear glass shatter, do not check which case is broken. That means it has escaped. His fingers dug into the cold metal of his flashlight. Something was loose. The air in the museum changed. It was still silent, but not the same kind of silence. This one was waiting, like a held breath before a whisper. A single soft footstep echoed somewhere in the halls, then another. Daniel's grip tightened on his flashlight. He risked a glance at his watch. 1:13 a.m. He wasn't alone anymore. His legs wanted to move faster, but he forced himself to keep an even pace. If something had escaped, it was looking for him. Another step. This time closer. Something was following him. The hall stretched before him, impossibly long, as though the museum had grown while he wasn't paying attention. The exhibits seemed taller, the shadows thicker. He reached an intersection and hesitated, left or right. The broken glass had come from behind him, but that didn't mean the thing, whatever had escaped, was still back there. He turned right. More footsteps, closer now. Daniel's mind raced. What had escaped? Another statue? A relic? A thing no one should have ever unearthed? A shape flickered at the edge of his vision, a blur of movement in the dark. He didn't look, didn't check, didn't dare. A whisper of breath stirred the back of his neck. Daniel kept walking, his fingers brushed against the radio on his belt. Should he call someone? Who? There had been no supervisor, no staff, no one but him. He pressed forward. He had to survive until morning. Behind him, the footsteps stopped, a moment of silence. Then, the sound of something crawling. Daniel walked faster. The sound of crawling had stopped, but the feeling remained. The weight of something watching, something waiting. He resisted the urge to turn around. If he looked, it might be there. His watch read 11:59 p.m. The next rule burned in his mind. At midnight she will appear. Cover your ears. Do not hear her speak. A distant clock chimed. Midnight. The temperature dropped so fast his breath misted in the air. The museum lights dimmed, flickering, casting wild shadows across the exhibits. The glass cases groaned as if something inside them was shifting, waking up. Then, ahead of him, she appeared, a woman in a Victorian black dress. She stood in the center of the corridor, motionless, facing away. Her veil covered her face, her hands folded in front of her. She didn't move. Daniel stopped breathing. He didn't move, didn't blink, didn't breathe. Then, slowly, too slowly, she turned. The veil hid her face, but he saw her lips begin to move. Daniel didn't hesitate. His hands clamped over his ears. No sound reached him. Nothing. The museum's silence swallowed everything, but he saw the way her lips twisted, forming words, speaking to him, begging. She took a step forward. Daniel's pulse thundered in his skull. His ears burned with the pressure of silence. He wanted to know what she was saying. His body ached to listen. The lights flickered. She took another step, and another. Her lips moved faster, more frantic now, desperate. The veil shuddered as if she were crying beneath it. She was close now. Her lips formed words over and over again, a question, a plea, a secret. Daniel almost lowered his hands, almost. The museum shook. The exhibits rattled. The walls shrank around him, and then the lights went out. Total darkness. His heartbeat roared in his ears. The cold was unbearable, digging into his bones. His fingers clenched against the sides of his head, pressing harder, forcing himself to not listen. Then, a breath at his ear, soft, too close. She was right beside him. The lights flared back on. The corridor was empty. No woman, no veil, no whispering lips. But something remained. Her shadow. It stretched across the floor, cast by nothing. It moved without her, and it was pointing at him. Daniel forced himself to move. His legs felt like lead, his pulse hammering in his throat. The shadow still pointed at him. It stretched long across the polished floor, even though the woman was gone. He stepped around it, careful not to touch it, then hurried down the hall. His watch read 2:27 a.m. The air had changed again. The museum was no longer just silent. It was empty in a way that made his skin crawl, as if something had left or something had entered. Then he saw him. A man in a gray suit emerged from the Egyptian exhibit. Daniel stopped cold. The man looked normal at first glance. His suit was pressed, his hair neatly combed. He walked with an easy, casual gait, as if he belonged there. But he didn't. There are no visitors at night. The man smiled. "Excuse me, sir. Could you point me to the exit?" Daniel's breath stalled. He gripped his flashlight tighter, heart thudding. "Don't speak. Don't acknowledge him." The man tilted his head, smile widening, too wide. "Come on, just one word." Daniel took a step back. The man mirrored him. "Just one." Daniel clenched his jaw, forcing himself to stay quiet. His hands were slick with sweat. Then the man's jaw unhinged, not like a yawn, not like anything human. It stretched too far, peeling back with a series of wet pops. The skin around his mouth split like overripe fruit, exposing teeth that were jagged, uneven, too many. Daniel's stomach clenched, his knees locked. The man flickered, like an old film reel skipping frames. He was there, then gone, then back closer. "Just say it." His voice had changed. It was layered now, like multiple mouths speaking at once. Daniel bolted. He sprinted down the hall, his breath burning in his throat. Footsteps pounded behind him, mismatched, too many feet hitting the floor at once. He turned a corner, slammed into a glass case. Pain shot through his ribs. He twisted around, empty hallway. The man was gone. Daniel staggered forward, gripping his side, trying to slow his breathing. He was shaking, his radio crackled. For a moment he thought he'd hear that voice, the layered one, but no, just static. Then, "He almost got you." Daniel's blood ran cold. Someone had spoken, but he was alone. Daniel forced himself to keep moving. The museum felt different now, less like a building, more like a body. The walls felt closer, the air thick and damp, as if he were walking through the lungs of something enormous. His watch read 3:32 a.m. A cold knot formed in his stomach. The next rule: at exactly 3:33 a.m. every exhibit will whisper your name. Pretend you don't hear it. His pulse thundered in his ears as he passed the anthropology section. Rows of skulls stared from behind glass, some human, some almost human. The air was colder here. The overhead lights flickered. Then it began. A low murmur filled the museum, layered, uneven, everywhere. A sound like wind moving through hollow bones, 1,000 voices whispering at once. Then he heard it. "Daniel." His stomach twisted. The voice came from inside the cases. "Daniel." Another, this one behind him. He kept walking. He didn't look at the exhibits. He didn't react. That was the rule. The whispers grew louder, hungrier. The bones in the anthropology case rattled. The skulls tilted, shifting toward him. Their empty sockets stretched wider, deeper. From the Egyptian exhibit, the mummified remains twitched beneath their wrappings, one hand, with fingernails still intact, pressed against the glass. In the art section, the paintings changed. The portraits, once calm and composed, now smiled. Wide, unnatural grins. Their eyes followed him. "Daniel." The whisper was right beside his ear. Daniel's body locked up. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to look, to do something. But he didn't. He kept walking, past the rows of exhibits that knew his name, past the displays that moved when they shouldn't. The whispering grew frantic, hissing, desperate. A sculpture shifted beneath its glass, turning as if to watch him. The taxidermied animals in the nature section opened their mouths, but no sound came out. And then, silence. Daniel didn't stop walking, didn't look back. He checked his watch. 3:34 a.m. The voices were gone. The exhibits were still. He exhaled, his first real breath in minutes. His radio crackled. For a moment he expected another voice, something unnatural, but it was just static. Then laughter, light, high-pitched, a child's giggle. It came from the antique doll exhibit, and Daniel realized he had just broken one rule. He had stopped walking. The giggle was small, innocent, almost normal, But it shouldn't be here. Daniel stood frozen, his body locked with an animal tension. His flashlight beam trembled as he swept it toward the antique doll exhibit. Rows of porcelain faces stared back at him, lined up in their glass cases, their painted eyes glassy and vacant. They hadn't moved. Not yet. Another giggle, closer. Daniel's stomach clenched. The rules. If you hear a child giggling near the antique dolls, leave that section immediately. He took a step back. Another. His boots scuffed against the marble floor, too loud in the museum's breathless silence. Then a tiny handprint smeared across the glass. His breath hitched. It hadn't been there a second ago, the size of a toddler's palm pressed against the inside of the case. Another giggle, behind him. Daniel's spine stiffened. His flashlight beam snapped toward the sound, but nothing was there. Just empty hallways and the stretching shadows of the exhibits. The dolls remained still, but something had changed. One was missing. Daniel's pulse roared in his ears. He swept the light along the cases, counting. One was gone. Another giggle, soft, wet, breathing. His hands trembled. He gripped the flashlight so hard his knuckles ached. His instincts screamed at him to run, but his legs wouldn't move. The dolls watched in eerie silence, frozen in their glass prisons, and then a soft scrape of movement. Daniel didn't blink, didn't breathe. His flashlight caught the smallest flicker of movement at the edge of his vision. A doll peeking around the corner. It was watching him, its head tilted, slowly, unnaturally far. Daniel's stomach dropped. The light flickered. In the split second of darkness, the doll was gone. His breath came in short, panicked bursts. He needed to leave. He turned, moving fast. His boot hit something soft. He looked down. A doll sat at his feet. It hadn't been there before. Its porcelain lips were cracked, curved into a faint, brittle smile. Its tiny hands were outstretched, as if waiting to be picked up. Daniel stumbled back, bile rising in his throat. The giggle returned. But this time, it wasn't a giggle anymore. It was breathing, wet, wrong, hungry. The doll moved. Daniel ran. Daniel didn't stop running until he was sure the doll was gone. His legs burned, his lungs ached, but he didn't care. He had to put as much distance as possible between himself and whatever that thing was. The museum corridors seemed longer now. The exhibits loomed higher, like statues standing in silent judgment. His boots squeaked against the polished floor, echoing through the empty halls. Then he heard it, a rhythmic swish, swish, swish. Daniel's stomach dropped, a mop dragging across the floor. His pulse stopped. He knew what was coming. Rule number 7, if the janitor is mopping the floor, walk the other way. He wasn't hired by the museum. The sound grew louder, swish, swish. A figure emerged at the end of the hallway. A janitor, dressed in an old faded blue uniform, head tilted down, his mop sliding across the floor in slow, deliberate strokes. Daniel didn't move, didn't breathe. He knew what the rule said, but his body refused to listen. His legs locked up, his muscles coiled tight. The janitor stopped mopping. Slowly, too slowly, he straightened. Daniel's flashlight flickered. The janitor's head snapped toward him. Not turned, snapped. His eyes were milky white, vacant. His mouth curled into a too-wide grin, lips cracked and peeling. Daniel took a step back. The janitor took a step forward. His mop hit the floor with a wet slap. Daniel's stomach turned. The water wasn't clear. It was dark, thick, red, not water, blood. A single gurgling word slipped from the janitor's throat. Messes, need cleaning. His grip tightened around the mop handle. Daniel didn't hesitate. He turned and ran. The janitor followed. Not running, not rushing, just walking, steady, unstoppable. The sound of wet footprints chased Daniel down the corridor. Swish, swish. The mop dragged behind him, smearing something dark along the tiles. Daniel rounded a corner, then stopped cold. The floor ahead of him was wet, deep red, soaking the white marble, puddling into footprints. His footprints. He hadn't stepped in any of it, but the prints were his size. His breath hitched. A whisper skated down his spine. You're already dirty. Daniel bolted the other way. The janitor was gone, but the mop lay on the floor, dripping red. The footprints beside it weren't his, and they led directly to the break room. Daniel's hands were slick with sweat as he ran. His heart pounded against his ribs, but he barely noticed the pain. His only thought, get to the break room, clock out before sunrise. He risked a glance at his watch. 5:55 a.m. His stomach dropped. The final rule. You must clock out before sunrise. If you don't, you'll become an exhibit. The break room was just ahead. He could see the door, the dim glow of the old fluorescent light through the window. He was almost there. Then the museum changed. The hallway stretched. The walls groaned, shifting like a living thing. The break room door pulled away, retreating into the distance. Daniel stumbled to a stop, panting. He turned to the exhibits. They weren't the same. The glass cases had changed. They were bigger now. The artifacts inside weren't artifacts anymore. They were people, frozen behind the glass. Faces twisted in expressions of terror, hands pressed against the surface, mouths open in silent screams. Their eyes, real, wet, alive. They were looking at him. Daniel's stomach churned. He staggered backward, away from the cases, but his own reflection in the glass didn't move. His heart stopped. The reflection wasn't following him. It stood still, staring back. His own face, frozen in horror. His hands were raised, pressed against the glass, trapped. Then he saw it, a new exhibit. At the end of the hall, where the break room should have been, a massive glass case now stood. Daniel didn't want to look. He didn't want to see, but he did. The plaque at the bottom gleamed under the dim museum lights. Security Guard 2024 inside the case was him, his own body, pressed against the glass, wide-eyed, mouth open in a silent scream. Daniel stumbled backward. No, this wasn't real. A voice crackled over his radio, not static, not whispers, a voice he recognized. You must clock out before sunrise. If you don't... Daniel's stomach twisted. He turned. The exhibits watched. The case, his case, was open. His watch beeped. 5:59 a.m. A hand touched his shoulder. Not cold, not hot, just wrong. Daniel turned, and the world vanished. Daniel's breath stopped. The hand on his shoulder gripped tighter. It wasn't human. The fingers were too long. The joints bent wrong. The skin felt real, but there was nothing alive behind it. He forced himself to turn. The museum was gone. No halls, no exhibits, no break room, only glass. He was inside the case. His palms were pressed flat against the surface, his breath fogging up the smooth barrier that separated him from the rest of the world. He pounded his fists against the glass. No sound, no movement. His body didn't respond. Outside, the museum was still. A figure moved in the distance. Another security guard, young, fresh, clutching a flashlight, his expression uncertain as he stepped through the exhibits. Daniel's mouth opened, but no sound came out. His throat didn't work. The new guard walked forward, glancing around at the artifacts, barely paying attention, until he stopped. He was looking directly at Daniel's case. The guard's expression twisted. He leaned in, pressing a hand against the glass, staring at Daniel's frozen form. Daniel tried to move, to scream, to warn him. Nothing. The guard's lips parted, whispering something under his breath. Then the radio crackled. A voice came through, flat, cold, familiar. You must clock out before sunrise. If you don't, Daniel's mind screamed. The young guard jerked upright, looking around. Then, shaking his head, he stepped back. The case, Daniel's case, began to dim, the glass fogging over, obscuring his reflection. He felt himself fading. The last thing he saw was the new guard turning away, walking deeper into the museum. The silence swallowed everything, and then the museum lights flickered back on. A plaque gleamed beneath the glass. Exhibit 12, The Watcher Inside. Daniel stood frozen, his hands pressed against the glass, his mouth open in a silent scream, his eyes wide, forever watching, waiting for the next security guard to arrive. Hey guys, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thanks.